I was reading an article last night about a new tectonic plate that is forming in Africa. And so I go to Google Maps and I'm because I used to study the topological structure of Africa, and because I indulge in the myth of Atlantis. I just have a good time doing it. And I personally I believe like the Azuris were uh, where Atlantis would have been if there was an Atlantis. And I study everything just to spend time, honestly. Anyway, uh, so ironically, I had this theory that because this winter was so strange. Nobody understands it, but it was windy, gale force winds for 3.5 months straight. And there's only two ways to fabricate convection currents of that pressure, especially for that long, and it's shifting Earth's axis. Well, then I started noticing, it's like, where the fuck is the moon? Like, I gotta clean my shirt. The moon has been gone for like 2 months. It hasn't been out. We had one full moon. I saw it during the day, but that means that potentially, I think, oh my god, I'm trying to organize this all in my brain when I'm tired. Okay, so I had this theory that you could use the CERN super collider to control Earth's core. And that could change the vectoring of the core, which would then alter the crust and control the axis deviations. And the moon plays such a huge role, not just in the oceans, but too goes into the physics of orbital gravitational tensions and cores of the moons around Jupiter to produce liquid cores. And it's a huge part of our gravitational tension on the around the sun, but also the moon. And the moon doesn't just influence the ocean, it influences the crust as well. And so, if you were to time and pulse that, you could not just control the weather, you could destroy entire economies anywhere around the planet, and no one would know how to detect it. Now, CERN, when I did the calculations, I realized that I was being naive, and I was like, oh, that's a silly, like, uh, 007 level conspiracy of, an evil man or whatever they called. But then I learned about this new tectonic plate. So to double blind it, I go to Google Maps, and the plate that is forming and embedding is exactly where it's being proposed that I could analyze. And what I think is happening, because when I was doing the calculations of the axis of the planet last night, recognizing where the pulse could happen is exactly in China. It's in oh god, where the fuck did I calculate it to be? Sort of like in Nanjing territory. Uh, Now, what that would mean is that as that tectonic plate bodies down, it's going to apply a thrust on the Atlantic plate that goes right under the United States, and this would bulge precisely in Central America where we have a super volcano. They could literally wipe out this entire fucking country. Like it would be just an awesome strategy. I have a great respect for Genghis Khan, and you know that fucking guy. He when he took I forget the name of the city, but there were sister cities that he slaughtered like 1 million people, made a mountain of bones that you could see for 20 miles, turned them all into fuel, soaked the earth in that fuel so that any approaching army, he could just burn them all. That guy was hard fucking court, right? Anyway, I used to play a lot of Go, and Go is a game where like you have to think like every little piece has this weird algorithm of opportunities in the future. It's such a difficult game. I suck at it, but you make a move that like your first move is meant to be advantageous in like 50, 60, 100 moves depending on the size of the board. And uh, so you got to think like that, right? That's what those people think like. And looking at Chinese history, not only do they have a 1 billion man army, the technology they developed for weaponry is formidable. They are the largest producers of rare earth minerals. They would have a deep earth supermagnet. And I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how long it would take, but using the moon to influence the pulse rate of gravitational structuring and melting of the core of the planet, too, of their gravitational field tension on the core, and then the pulse rate to, you know, increase the speed of tectonic shifts. And then I was reading another article. God, what is it about being 30 years old that you can't clear your goddamn throat? Anyway, it would increase the shift of the tectonics. And I was reading another article that uh, there was these weird earthquakes that have been happening, and they're all like abnormal in their patterns. And I was really confused looking at it, and and then I see that and I'm like, oh my god. Much respect, China. That is hardcore. Right, that is fucking badass. If I'm right. And like that is just I mean, they're constantly putting us in debt. When are they going to come to collect? Well, during COVID, we emphasized our power and strength. They studied our entire economic structure and how we would sustain in a governmental shutdown. Really, I mean, there's so many little key variables, and they're all just kind of pointing towards this direction of that. And I just happen to think like that, where, because I was just so curious about the strain of weather patterns. You know, like they're abnormal. Something's funny. It can't just be an abnormal and unnatural shift in weather patterns. The Earth isn't just happening to shift on its magnetic polarity. There's something else going on. And I always just called it a conspiracy theory of CERN potentially being used. CERN's not deep enough, and the magnet's not powerful enough. However, with the quantum computations of China, they're the leading competitor in quantum computers. you could form a matrix of subatomic particles with a supermagnet that then is amplified by fusion to, because a supermagnet in my interpretation is it's a superconductive magnet that can be amplified through electrodynamics and used to focalize electromagnetic forces. And so you would have a constant push and pull that you could manipulate the depth of electromagnetism. And at a quantum state, this could be used. I mean, it's just fucking crazy the more you go into it, but I know it might sound just a little funny, but like, uh, it's all just sort of adding up, and I'm gonna keep analyzing it. Cannot clear my throat. All on my nasals. But I mean, like, because the bulge in Africa, um, when I was studying how potentially if there was Atlantis, the bulge would, because it's in Algeria, and the tectonic plate structure is angled right at that bulge towards the shift and bulge of tectonic, uh, or not bulge, crest of, is it crest? What? Crest versus Colgate. Google, you are so fucking useless. Trough. Okay. Yeah. Crest is the top. So there's a trough in the Atlantic Ocean, and I found on Google Maps like this uh, underwater structure that is identical to the descriptions of Plato. And so that bulge on the tectonic shift would apply pressure to that exact area where you would have a compressive force in Central America. Mucus. And what else is there to delve into? All over me. I mean, it wouldn't be something that would happen this generation either. It would be an economic influence for the next 2 or 3 generations to dissolve um, the influence of physics and then re-pursue a like religious degradation of the cognitive structure of our society so that we couldn't even analyze this and figure this out. That's how I would do it. Like, I mean, if I was trying to destroy this country and I had the entire power of China in entirety, like They are fucking badasses. Holy shit. That is awesome. Like, I can't even be mad. That is so fucking righteous. Like, that's Genghis Khan level shit. We're gonna alter the earth to activate a super volcano and burn you. That's gnarly. Holy fuck. I can't even be mad. Like, that's just righteous as hell. Like, in literal terms of righteous as hell. Fucking A. Wow. My mind is just fucking blown. That is badass. Like, you can't even find articles about this volcano anymore. Because it's under, like, Arkansas area. I'm talking to people on Facebook about it. And sometimes you can't always trust, Facebook posts. So we make posts in good jest or false information just to have fun and discuss stuff. But I double checked, and this is a real science article about those. And like, we have a massive super volcano that is like, it's through the entire central structure of the United States. And you can't even find articles about it anymore, which is even more concerning. The control of information to reduce the analysis of this approach. Formidable. What the hell do you do? How do you defeat that? My God. I'm just gonna oil my axe and think. The end is coming along nice. Holy shit. Mine is just blown right now. It's coming along great. It's starting to look very natural and matte. It's taken a long time, but it's worth it. This is a good handle. And this is a really fun axe to use. Oh man, what to do? How do you... Probably be murdered if I post this. If it's real. That them murder me would prove it. So why would they murder me? God, I cannot clear my goddamn fucking throat. It's ridiculous. It's just pure goo. I need to take albuterol. When you drink a lot, your bronchioles tend to swell up. But it helps remove all that shit from my lungs from smoking marijuana for so long. I got to where I couldn't take deep breaths. And albuterol too. There's like alcohol vapor in it, and that dissolves resins that build up. So I've been able to take deeper breaths and feel air entering the bottom of my lungs again. God damn it. I need to defeat this. Unbelievable. I mean, to build something like that would take a long time. You would need, like, the amount of rare earth minerals that you would need, and the compression. For super conductivity. Using Earth's orbital vectoring, rotational vectoring, and mind blowing. Just can't clear my throat. That is why there's that stereotype of men that make that sound. Feels like he's hawking up a demon. Man. I think I'll spend the morning chopping wood. That fucking snowfall we had messed up my entire rhythm. All of my consistency just gone. Shame she lost her leg. She has really beautiful curves. Laser turns metal into star-like plasma and trillions of a second. Yeah, I am the guy that proposed super plasma. There's another theory about it, but mine's slightly different. What happens at the center of stars to increase quantum probability of fusion? and then it was proven, basically. Not too far forward. Wave flux and refraction of plasmic uh, density to increase, the probability of overcoming the Coulomb barrier or whatever it's called. I quit thinking about physics for a long time, so I don't know. Why even defend this country anymore? No matter how smart I am, I still can't find love. There's 7 billion people on this planet, and I can't find a single one that I get along with. Why should they exist? Because it's the right thing to do. Life is more precious than defeat. Hmm.